everybody, it's me, your buddy Dave from thedarkstuff.com and the Dark Stuff channel here on YouTube. Thanks a lot for checking out my latest video. Folks, word on the street is there's something new from the Replacements, and as I am your source for all things Replacements on YouTube, we're going to talk about it. Yeah, so the Replacements, Tim, the Let It Bleed edition was released today, September the 22nd of 2023. Unlike with the previous, all the previous Replacements box sets and stuff that have come out, I decided not to pre-order it this time. I've ordered all the previous ones through Rhino, and you know, I love the company, but the stuff doesn't arrive by release date. In fact, it's often not even shipped until after release date. So I don't understand, why am I pre-ordering it if I get it a week after the stores? It doesn't make any sense to me personally. They do have some of the goodies, you know, the little extras, but sometimes they're not really all that worth it. They're reproductions of stuff, and it's not always that cool. Sometimes there are exceptions. For this one, I decided I'm just going to go to the store because they did have these little tote bags. Hold My Life. Wait, you can't really see that. Hold My Life tote bag. I couldn't get to the record store until 10 o'clock. So for the first like 3 hours of the morning, all I did was listen to it in headphones over and over. Yeah, so it's 10 o'clock on the dot. I am here at Homer's. Let me see if I can reverse it. Well, I'm just going to turn it around. So you can see I'm at Homer's right now, about to go pick up that Tim box. What? So the bulk of the box, these are exactly like the way the Pleased to Meet Me one was done, and the Sorry Ma, which is to say that it is 4 CDs and then one vinyl record. And they're an amazing booklet. I took the booklet out for the purposes of this. I'm going to show you the box. Here is the front. Okay. There's the back with the track listing. I don't know. Sorry, the mic is in the way a little bit there. You got your one vinyl record, which is the 2023 remix by Ed Stasium. It's in a anti-static sleeve. It's pretty cool. Well done. So Tim was originally released in 1985 on Sire Records. It was the Replacements' 4th album, and it was their first for a major label. Kind of a big deal at the time because technically they did the major label thing before REM and before Husker Du, and I don't think a lot of people are actually aware of that. The album was produced by Tommy Erdelyi, or better known as Tommy Ramone, the original drummer of the Ramones, who left in 1978 to be a producer. You know, look, I've read a lot of Replacements books, so there's this one, Trouble Boys, waxed up hair and painted shoes, all over but the shouting. The only book I think I'm missing is Bill Sullivan's book. He was their tour manager in the mid-'80s, and he has a book. I haven't seen that, and I've read all of the liner notes to all of the various things. There were still revelations in this book, this thing that I was unaware of. You know, Tim is a lot of things to a lot of people. It was the first major label album for the Replacements. It was the last album to feature the original lineup with Bob Stinson on lead guitar. So there's a first, there's a last. You know, a lot of changes were going on in the band at this time. And I think it's almost universally agreed upon with fans that the songs on Tim are among the band's best. Okay, there's just no way. Hold My Life, Bastards of Young, Waitress in the Sky, Kiss Me on the Bus, Left of the Dial. I mean, Here Comes a Regular, just to name half of it, right? Legendary stuff. But every single person I know who is a serious Replacements fan is baffled by how weird the album sounds. Why does the mix sound so shitty? I always just chalk that up to just bad 80s production choices, and a lot of that is accurate. There were a lot of bad 80s production choices by Tommy Erdelyi, who mixed the record. But there's also a lot of other stuff that you learn in this with this package. It's always been known that they started sessions and did with Alex Chilton as a producer, and they cut a couple of tracks at the beginning of 1985, and they were great. That's when Nowhere Is My Home came from. That came out on an album called Boink, and it's been out on a number of things. So the album was recorded largely as a trio. Bob Stinson only came in on a couple of occasions, and I didn't know that before. It wasn't always talked about, but it was in Trouble Boys, and it's been in a couple other things that he really wasn't feeling the new music. He insisted on keeping his day job as a cook, so he would just sort of pop in every now and again. Some of the stuff he did on the record is brilliant, and a lot of the stuff was just unused. And nobody at the time was really saying, God, this album is great, but why does it sound so weird? Well, let's get into what the problems with the original mix were and how they've been radically improved. So Tommy Ramone, as a mixer, bathed the Paul Westerberg's vocals in reverb, drenched the snare drum in reverb, and pushed everything sonically into the middle, so there's no left-right balance. There's no stereo-ness to it. The important thing about the Tim box set, in my opinion, is this new remix from Ed Stasium. Stasium used to work with Tommy Ramone back in the late 70s. They did some Ramones records together. Rhino put out a video, which was an interview between Bob Mayer and Ed Stasium, where they went over kind of what he did on the tracks. And if it's, I'll try and remember to put a link to it, because you should watch that video when we're done here. I also mentioned the problem with Tommy Ramone's mix was that everything was essentially mono. It was all coming out the same everywhere. This has a lot of stereo separation, and you hear guitar parts over here, you hear guitar parts over here, you hear this and that. I mean, it is so much better. You hear so much more of Bob's lead parts. Some stuff that is just louder, like you heard a little, some like line, and you thought that was cool, but you could barely hear it. Now it's very prominent. You hear it like crystal clear. Other stuff just wasn't on there at all, like it was faded out to zero, and now you can hear extra bits. Not all of it's Bob, some of it is Paul. He did a lot of the lead guitar as well. There's other little things besides the guitar parts and the bass sounding good. Paul's vocals sounding more real and less reverby, and the drums sounding better. Besides that, you also hear stuff like extra backup vocals in like Waitress in the Sky that you'd never heard before. Some oohs and ahs and stuff, and like really adds to it. Really good. They also cut the count in earlier. So you hear at the beginning of that one, and Paul goes a 1, 2, okay. What they lead it was a few seconds more, and he goes, all right, Chris, let me do it like twice, and then you come in, and you hear Chris go, okay. And then that's where you hear. So now you hear this little extra bit. It's just kind of cool. The new mix is worth the price of admission alone. I mean, I swear to God, it is so good. And again, I feel almost robbed that for 40 years I had to hear this album a certain way, and now I hear what it could have been, and it's just, my God, this is the second album where the replacements were destroyed by a bad mix. Literally destroyed. And an improvement in the mix made it sound like a totally new album. I don't know other artists where this is the case. There's the Stasium mix as the vinyl, and it's also one of the CDs. Then they do an updated version, a 2023 remaster of the original mix. I don't really know why you'd want to hear. I mean, I don't know if it's any different than this, but it's already been digitally remastered. I'm not sure. I don't want to ever hear that old mix again, honestly. I just want to hear the new mix only. Disc 3 is called Sons of No One, Rare and Unreleased. Most notable for me on this one, though, was a track called Having Fun, which I'd never known that they did before. Turns out that was Tommy's first writing contribution, and I guess it said there he was recording it in the studio by himself, just dinking around during off time. Paul liked it, and they actually recorded a version where Paul did the vocal, Tommy played guitar, Tommy Erdelyi is on it, and it's pretty cool. I mean, they didn't do anything with it, but you could see Tommy had it like very early on. He's like 17 when they made this album. Disc is called Not Ready for Prime Time, and it's them live in January 11th, 1986 at the Cabaret Metro in Chicago. like the Live at Maxwell's record, where that was done with a full 24-track mobile studio in a truck outside the club. This was a soundboard recording done by their, touring sound guy. And then they tweaked it later by taking an audience recording of the same album and then kind of blending that in so you get more of an audience feel to it, because most soundboard recordings are kind of you don't hear the audience at all, and it gives it a weird feel. It is an amazing live set. It sounds like the band is sitting there playing in your living room. I mean, for me, it was like the Replacements were here in the bunker. It was insane. The band was on fire. They were not a bunch of drunken buffoons playing cover songs. They were smoking on this thing. A lot of songs off Tim, a lot of songs off Let It Be, Hootenanny, first album, Stink. That was all the stuff that was out at the time. They did play Can't Hardly Wait, as they often did. Cover songs, yeah, but they actually played them very well. They did Hitchin' a Ride. They did Kiss, Black Diamond, Jumpin' Jack Flash by the Stones, Trouble Boys, Dave Edmunds, Borstal Breakout, Sham 69, Nowhere Man by the Beatles, and then all their own songs. And they're playing great. Bob sounds amazing. It was just, God, smoking. Right before they played on SNL, 1 week before they played on Saturday Night Live. So I'm just going to show, some of these, the best thing about this is these photos. Look at this. I don't know. Hold on. I'm going to push the mic out a little bit. All right, so I'm not going to show every picture. It's just like there are so many great photos from this, and all the different variations. The photo of them on the train tracks on that couch. That photo session is very well known because it was their press photo for that tour in that year. But all of the outtakes from it, never seen. A lot of these live photos from that actual Metro show are in there. Just amazing. All right, all I can do is just gush and keep going. Amazing, amazing, amazing. I'm sorry. I just don't have anything negative to say about this box other than maybe the price, but whatever. It's all... That's just the way that it goes. When they know they got you on that shit. So I'm going to let you go here. Thanks a lot for watching this video. Take care. Bye-bye.